Welcome. I'm Harmony Slater, your host of the Finding Harmony podcast. Over the past 20 years, I've taught thousands of yoga teachers and students to explore the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern everyday life, using mind-body practices to heal, awaken, and manifest their dreams from the inside out. This podcast is a sanctuary for those feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges. Are you ready to jump in and discover how these challenges aren't actually in the way, but are the way to finding harmony? Let's invite the magic back in. What if the way you age isn't just about time and your body, but it's about your beliefs? What if your face, your energy, your vitality, your glow are shaped not only by your biology, but also by what we might call your belief biology? This conversation is happening every day, every moment, and it's between your thoughts and your nervous system and your cells. I'm so happy that you're tuning in today because my guest, Angelica, and I are exploring a whole new perspective on rejuvenation. One that is blending the science of consciousness with the body's innate intelligence. And so we are going to look at the conversation of aging and beauty and vitality, not from the perspective of buying more products or having fake procedures done or real procedures that lead to fake looking results, or trying to fight a never-ending battle against time, but from understanding the reality that your body is always listening to you. It's listening to your inner dialogue. It's responding and listening to your emotional patterns, to what you're holding emotionally in your energetic field, in your thoughts. And it's listening to whether you're feeling safe, supported, connected. It's responding to how you're feeling about your body itself and how you're acting and being in the world. And so over time, these repetitive signals shape how we look, how we feel, and ultimately how we age. Today, Angelika Anagnostou, who is a friend and a practitioner of life alignment methodology, joins me in talking about this very important conversation. And together, we're going to explore how science is starting to reflect the tenets of ancient wisdom and how your body already holds the original blueprint for balance, vitality, youthfulness, radiance, and feeling and looking your absolute optimal, your absolute best. And this conversation is about helping you come up with some concrete steps to remember this blueprint. So take a deep breath and get ready to remember who you truly are and how to connect to your blueprint. Hello, Angelica. How are you today?
Very good. Good evening, good morning. Lovely to see you again.
Well, I'm so excited for this conversation because I'm really looking forward to jumping into this work that we're doing and telling everyone about this incredible program and these masterclasses that we've created. But it was probably, I don't know, it was several months ago, maybe almost half a year, not quite, but that you came to me with this concept of using our skills to, I don't know, support, to help facilitate rejuvenation and anti-aging.
Yeah, indeed.
Especially like with the face, right?
Oh,
So what was it that made you start questioning this whole concept? Like how we as humans, as women, as a species, I mean, it works for men too, but women have so much pressure to, we're the ones getting all this facial Botox and surgeries and cosmetic upgrades and facelifts and all the things, right? So what provoked you to sort of starting to explore more this idea of shifting and changing our energetic code to create, I guess, like lasting beauty or youthfulness instead of this inevitable decline that seems to happen?
Well, first of all, never a boring moment in my life. Full of fun ideas, always that they drop into my head. They come not so randomly, but it's like almost like messages, like an inner calling of something. And what prompted me? It started actually when I was 25 years old. I was reading a book, The Cryon Channelings, and it was talking about the new DNA, the blueprint of the human body, the innate intelligence that is within our bodies, and we just need to talk to it and get better and feel better and heal and all that. In that particular book, it was saying how humanity now is evolving to bigger life cycles because the way that it works for humans now, we need to be more mature on the planet if we are to change consciousness and support an earth that is more wise. So we shouldn't die so quickly, apparently, according to that book. Anyway, so the book suggested that you can talk to the innate intelligence in the body and tell it what the biomarker should be. Like, so if you want your biomarker to be 25, you should tell it that it's 25. And apparently the body listens. So I was, I think, about 25 years old, and I said, oh yeah, all right, okay, I'm talking to you, I'm 25 anyway. I didn't think about it that much at the time, but I thought, great. And then this thing just carried on around other readings that I was focused on, or like other research I was doing throughout the next 10 years of my life. When I moved to India, I started realizing that as we age, as people progress in years, they start to focus very much on what age they are and what happens to them in that age bracket, right? So, for example, I started observing it with clients that even like very fit clients that I had, because of them, a lot of them were yoga students, for example, but they had so many prefixed ideas that said, now that I am that age, oh, now I have that pain in my spine. And they would justify it in terms of what age they are. And not, oh, my body, is just biologically stressed, or like I had an accident or whatever. There was like a tag with age. So I started questioning why this is so prominent in people's minds, why people think like that, as a question at first. And then I started noticing it within myself, that certain birthdays started triggering certain thoughts that I didn't have like a day before. And I thought, like, how is it even possible that you hit a certain number and then you start having like, it's like a download of thoughts that is suddenly shaping your reality and is telling your body what to do, although that was not your intention. And I noticed it with older people, much older than me, much older than us, when they would reach, let's say, 60 or 65 or 70, like how their organs collapse suddenly from one day to the next, or like they suddenly, they need a hip replacement. But, like very fixed things that happen because the person hit a certain number. So I observed it also in my parents. I observed it in other people of older age. And I thought to myself, there's something that is going on here that is like a morphogenetic field agreement that we all seem to like subconsciously agree that this should happen at that time, with variations, of course.
Yeah.
And I started really questioning myself and saying, is that what you want to do? Like I started asking myself the question, is that what you want now? Do you want to wear glasses, for example? Really? Do you want to Like, do you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
wear glasses, or do you want to have perimenopause, or do you want that?
Yeah.
And then I kept on hearing that voice from the book. You need to tell your body what you want it to do.
I think if you're not tuned in and like really consciously reprogramming like your thoughts, your DNA, your epigenetics, the way your genes are being expressed, but like doing that in a very intentional way, then nature's going to naturally take you to wherever it's going to take you, which is mostly downhill. But, you know, I have met some older women in particular in these examples I'm thinking of. One of my friends, her mother, her mantra since she was sort of a young girl is, I will be young all the days of my life. And she really has this energy. You know, she has this beautiful, long, now white hair because she's in her 70s, but she's still like, she has this vibrancy about her. And often like young men come up to her and like see her from behind and kind of like tap her on the shoulder. And then she turns around and they're like, oh, sorry. But she often gets mistaken as quite young or youthful. And I think it has a lot to do with this mantra that she's had and she's been saying to herself over and over and over again.
Well, this mantra can be taken to the next level, because that is one thing. It's like, okay, I'll be young or youthful, but you can be very specific and you can be like, okay, I'm telling you, my body, what I would like you to have or how I want you to create things. Because the body in itself, if we leave it without belief systems or anything else, and we know that from rejuvenating and amazing healings and the amazing power of the mind to recreate anything, can actually recreate anything. And there's no reason to create a faulty something unless you believe that it's going to be faulty.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even for myself, you know, when I was in my early 20s, I had really quite terrible farsighted vision. So I couldn't see in the distance. And so then I had to wear glasses and then contacts. And so I was wearing contacts and glasses all the time. And I met a doctor, an ophthalmologist, who said, well, you can heal your eyes. And I read this book. It's called You Can Heal Your Eyes. And then over the next like 3 years, basically, I totally healed my eyes, got retested. My driver's license changed, so I didn't need to have glasses when I was driving anymore. And that was unheard of. People said, oh, once your eyes go, they always go.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to kind of like see our bodies do know how to regenerate. We have an innate healing potential within us.
And especially when it comes to eyes, now that you say the Tao practices, they're all about regenerating the eyes, and they don't see decline in the eyes at all. This is like more like a Western concept. And for them, it's more about the emotions and the stress that is causing your eyes to lose sight.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Yes. Emotions and stress, like that really is a big one.
And this is actually what takes the life out of everyone. You see young people turn gray overnight because of emotions and stress. And you see older people looking fantastic and they have a full set of hair that is like brown and luscious and beautiful. And they're like, you know, much older.
Yeah.
How you live in the body is how you're shaping it, how you're creating it with your thoughts and your emotions. You're activating the positive or the negative switches for it to heal or to die. And in many cases, you know, people want to die fast, like they don't enjoy it. It's like, get me out of here quickly, right?
Like there's sort of an unconscious, feeling of I don't want to be here. And I think that this unconscious feeling is something that we actually all have at a certain level. Like even I noticed in myself, like when you're in a place that's really, really good and you actually do want to be there, there's a pattern sometimes to try to get to the next thing. And when I catch the pattern, I'm always like, wait, slow down. You want to be here. You asked to be here. Just be here.
Right.
Don't want to get to the next thing. And that pattern, that underlying unconscious pattern of always pushing forward to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, even if you're in like a beautiful, wonderful experience, right? We still are like, well, what's next? What's next? Because it's the pattern of like trying to escape the present moment that really starts to drive our behaviors and our thoughts and our actions. And that in and of itself, I think kind of is sending us towards the grave in a fast, speedy way.
Absolutely. And now you're hitting a very important point in rejuvenation, regeneration, or everything. The power lies in the present moment. You need to be present in the moment, observing yourself, observing your reality, and say, okay, like a painter, what do I want to paint next? Right? What do I want to draw in my canvas? And give instructions accordingly. But have you also noticed when you have like something happy happening and you are really in the present, even that sort of surge of energy makes you look 10 years younger immediately, right?
Yeah.
Overnight, you can look like, oh, like people say, oh, what happened to you? Right? Oh, you look so good because the life force has suddenly increased. You want to be here. You're grateful about life. And then your face starts to light up. And not only lights up, like the energy that is being produced is getting the signals for the body to regenerate.
Yeah, that's incredible to think about. Just like I was doing some reading too, and like you talked about the inner light inside and this idea of the mitochondria, right? And how it produces these photon emissions, like these, I guess it's called like ultra weak photon emissions or something. And this living tissue that we're in, our bodies, are legitimately emitting a light frequency. And I think they call them like biophotons. And so how we can, like when you're saying when we're happy, we're in a positive state, or we've been, doing a lot of yoga and meditation, and we're literally increasing this inner light, this inner radiance or vibrancy, but it's like literal biophotons in our cells. And that in itself, as you say, I think can change our face. And, even the yogic texts talk about this. I guess become more enlightened or like enter samadhi or become more established in your yoga practice, then this inner light starts to radiate out. And so it's so interesting to look at how can we connect to this inner light, to this inner radiance, to these biophotons, and use them to help rejuvenate our face, to create a more younger, youthful look, but also to have this vibrancy in our energy as well, rather than feeling depleted all the time.
And you're saying it right there. Like, how do we connect? By establishing the mind connection that we are the biophotons, right? It's not that we have them, we are it.
Yeah. That shift in identity is so profoundly powerful.
Yes, because then once you recognize that you are energy and your body is energy and you're creating it, then you're understanding the whole purpose of yoga, right? That everything is energy and it's all interconnected. When it comes to the body, if I am energy and I am light, I am this biophotons and I'm creating it, then it's ageless. I am deciding I am, then I can command.
Yeah. So I know the work you do, the life alignment work. How do you connect to this power of commanding your energy, your consciousness, your higher self to do what you want it to do?
I mean, the whole premise of the life alignment method is to get the mind to quieten down enough so that we can actually get in touch more with the real self within. By using this technique, we're creating a meditative space to the extent that everyone can to come to a point of silence to either reevaluate their thoughts or their life or their circumstances in order to find better solutions by connecting to the greatness within. So I'm using the exact same method to get the person to reprogram their body. And the more we are doing it with people and they're opening to the concept of, hey, this is how my body is responding when I'm giving the command from my heart center and from a space of lightness and joy, and they have the direct experience, then we can take them to a deeper level and now see, okay, now that we had this experience, what is the next level? Okay, now I can reprogram it to do much more. Or I can look at what is it obstructing it? What is a previous thought, which is an energy pattern that I have stored that has obstructed it? And then by keeping that observation, can I let it go? What do I choose instead? Right? So it brings back the person to the driver's seat. That's the whole premise of it.
And so coming back to the driver's seat, there's something in there around sort of returning to your original blueprint. Can you talk a little bit about what that means? Like, how would somebody return to their original blueprint, or even know what their original blueprint is?
Well, I'll tell you what it means to me and how I perceive it. Taking it back to I am energy, right? And also I am energy, but I'm not a random energy. I'm an energy with a specific biosignature. And I am, if I'm looked in space, I am created by sacred geometry, that like I'm a mathematical formula with numbers and sounds and color frequency that makes me, and you, and somebody else, right? So the way that I come into existence is a very perfect creation, is a formula already. And I am creating it from a distance level of self. I am creating that. So that blueprint of me exists outside space and time. And that holds the original code of wellness, of the understanding of longevity, the infinite possibilities of regeneration and rejuvenation. Because in my energy format, I am not sick, right? I'm in my energy format, which is perfect coding, that I'm light, I'm frequency, and there's no sickness, there's no age, right? It's just code, it's just numbers. And if I'm coming to the understanding of myself as a masterful being, then I can even design out of my original blueprint of health and vitality, even like the masters would say, how I'm even going to look or appear, because I'm actually energy moving in a field. So as I'm densifying my energy into human body, right? But using my blueprint, I'll create a version of me that is healthy, and I'll appear like this or like this. I choose it. Does that make sense?
I love that. I mean, theoretically, yeah.
Yes, I think that is coming back to that point, theoretically, but the more and more that I have been working with the life alignment technique and different people, people start to understand that. They start feeling that they're energy. They start feeling the command. They start feeling the response. So they start to have that understanding as a direct experience, right? Which is something that you bring in with your work as well, because the whole premise of spinal energetics is about connecting to that energy that creates.
And I think people do start to, especially when they're in the work regularly. I mean, if you just get sort of like one session and then that's it, nothing fixes you in one session. I hate to tell people that, but like, it's just like everything, right? You can't just do one yoga practice like once or even once a month and expect anything to change.
Exactly.
Like, you have to keep building that path or that imprint, that groove in your mind, body, nervous system, energetic fields, so that you can drop in and connect very quickly. And anyone who's been practicing yoga, I think for 20 plus years, has like regularly, not once a month, hopefully, especially if they've been into more like meditation practices or pranayama, like something that's taking them inside rather than just keeping them in the activity of the outside, right?
Absolutely.
Then there's a path to drop in. And if you can drop in and feel your body from the inside out, then you're actually connecting to your energy body. And that energy body, the more you feel it inside, also connects you to your energetic field outside, because the energetic field goes in and out.
Yes.
Right. And so I love what you're saying here about really being able to drop into the now, to connect to that energetic code or encoding that is your truest form and then like have a conversation with.
And that's why also like repetition and consistency is key, because come on, we're adults, right? So our mind has been trained from our school years to orientate itself in a very specific way, in a very sort of belief system that, oh, this is solid, right? It's unmovable. I need to go to the doctor, right? So we have to take ourselves into a new belief system that is the understanding of myself as energy. And that has to happen through direct experience and repetition. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like the mind will always say, but what are you talking about? Yeah, okay, theoretically, but, or like, oh, nonsense, right? But once you start working with a direct experience, then you are working with a different belief system from within because you are enjoying the participation in that.
I mean, I think it's futuristic in that I think the way that we look at ourselves and our being and energy and medicine is really going to be shifting in the next decade. You know, like thought leaders like Joe Dispenza or Dr. Zach Bush or like, you know, a lot of these functional medicine doctors, even my functional medicine doctors really into like the mitochondria and biophotons and like, he's quite interesting. But it's really shifting how we understand what being human is.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's the change, right, that we need to make. And that's why it requires regular practice in a sense, or regular sessions, or regular coming back to this new way of being, this new identity, because the rest of the world is reinforcing an old identity.
Absolutely. It's like a regular decongestion, like decongest the mind from old ideas and scenarios and start to questioning what really is. And all science is pointing to the same direction now. Quantum physics, or like more advanced biohacking sort of solutions that are out there, they're all pointing to the same direction, that this is an energy field that can be manipulated. Whether you're going to inject it peptides or go to cryo chambers, or you're going to do it with your mind, right? It's up to you. And I believe in 200 years from now, people will look back and say, what were these people thinking about themselves? That's ridiculous.
It reminds me of that counterclockwise study that was done by Ellen Langer. I think it was in 1979. And she took like that group of elderly humans and put them in a situation that was like 20 or 30 years, like during the time that they would have been growing up. And they lived in this like world, basically this recreated world of 20 or 30 years. So that it was like when they were in their 20s or 30s, and then they were actually in their 70s, and they measured before and after many, many things like, you know, I think telomere length and brain activity, and took photos and muscle strength and all these different things. And all of their markers like changed and got better. Like they had reversed the aging, and even their photos looked different. And then when they had other like participants who weren't in the study, but who were sort of, they were using them to kind of test like, well, which photo do you think was taken first? Are they younger or older? And all the photos that were taken at the end of this, you know, short period that this group was living in this alternate dimension that reminded them of being young. They not only gained strength in their body and like reverse things like hypertension or diabetes or different conditions that were arising in them, they also looked younger. And everyone who looked at these objective photos said, oh, well, obviously this was taken before, but they were always the after photos, which is pretty amazing.
It's a lovely example, this one, but it's exactly that. Like you're creating a field for them to enter that has a specific set of parameters that is like 20 years younger or 30 or 40 years younger, right? And you're creating a field of entrenchment for their DNA. DNA is programmable anyway. So you're downloading the information. So the DNA has to react and match that field, that predominant field. So it will recreate according to the information that it is entangled with in that moment.
the biology of belief, right? I think like our mind, our identity.
Yeah, and also like say, for example, it can also happen with people interacting with different younger age groups, like that entanglement, like can create, like regenerate youthfulness and power and strength because of how the field is programming and sending information to their bodies. That's another interesting one.
I love that because I do see a tendency often, like with even the clients I work with, to kind of as they're aging, especially in this middle age time of life, you know, when you're kind of going through perimenopause or menopause, there's almost like a retraction that starts to happen. Like you don't have as many friends as you did when you were younger. You know, maybe you've raised your kids, and so your world is sort of like shrinking, it feels like, because the kids kind of pull you out into activities and you're meeting different people and your whole world is about sort of supporting them often. And then you reach this sort of time where you have to literally go out and change your environment in some way if you want to meet new people or expand or grow. And that can be a very difficult shift because it can feel almost like, well, now I'm getting older, so I'm just going to retract and stay at home.
But you see, it's like it's a script. Ultimately, it's a script that the person is writing and it's followed. Right. And because there's a consensus of the script, right? It's expected. And again, like you're hitting those markers in time and you're saying to your body, shut down now, right? I'm 40, shut down.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 50, shut even more down. I'm 60, right? You know, well, it should be like cancel, do something else, like create a different scenario, right? And this is something that I would like to ask anyone that is watching, like, what's your thoughts? Experiment with that. What are you telling your body? Are you telling it to shut down? Are you saying, oh, now that I'm older, like, you know, a lot of people say that, you know, bullshit, like think before you talk, right? What do you want your body to do?
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to buy in that concept or do you want to recreate your health, vitality, youthfulness, amazing looks? Like, I mean, if people like Joe Dispenza, and not just him, people that I know personally manage to recreate organs and like rebuild their uterus and the spine or like create a new thyroid, then how are we creating reality? And what is our capability?
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, because that's the thing is how powerful is that our biology responds to our beliefs and to how we're programming.
And also it's responding to the field itself. Like, you know, all these master healers and all these programs, all these like amazing retreats for deep healing. It responds to the field of consciousness that is trying to support you to heal yourself. So when you're thinking and you're saying, I would like to connect to that greater force, let's say, that has created my body, not only you're talking to your greater intelligence, but you're talking to the field intelligence as well, that it's supporting you and saying, okay, send her energy, send him power to do that, to recreate. Our thoughts are much more powerful. And that would be a whole other podcast in itself. But, you know, it's just using creative force wisely. And the point here is like, if you can create an organ, I think since the skin is an organ and it's intact, you can easily get it to work better for you or look better. Or like your eyesight to get stronger, or like for your face to look younger. At least you have all your bits there, right? Like other people are recreating an organ that is gone, that is has been removed surgically, and they rebuild it, right?
I mean, even when I think of like some people, you know, like Patabi Joyce or, you know, people that I've known who have been quite old, even my grandmother. I mean, I will use her as an example, but nobody knows what she looks like.
We want photos.
I mean, she's 97 and her face is so young looking. And I think it has a lot to do with just her belief that she's like, you know, or maybe her feminist resistance around aging. I don't know.
I mean, if you examine what people think, it's interesting to see like the people that they look so youthful and have so much vitality and strength. What do they actually believe inside themselves? about life, about age, about deterioration or not, right? Some people are ready to die in their 50s, and some people are like youthful and amazing and close to 100.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you start kind of examining it, and it's beyond just genetics. You know, I think a lot of people say, well, it's genetics, but it's so much more than that.
Ultimately, even if it is genetics, who programs the genetics, right? Like you are the engineer. So if you're coming with a set of genetics and say, oh, okay, this is my family's genetics, but I'm willing to challenge that. It's DNA. That again, we're coming to the programmable factor. You decide, okay, my family had that, but I'm stopping that. It's the same thing when we're releasing emotional patterns anyway, right? Like an abuse pattern or like any sort of family pattern is the same for health.
So what can people expect when they come to our masterclass? What are we going to do with them? Why should they sign up?
To figure out how the mind creates the reality of the health, but also the very interesting phenomena of how emotions stay in our bodies and face and shape it accordingly. Certain emotions that predominantly grow on our face, literally, and stay there unchallenged can create intense droopiness, loss of eyesight, jowls, wrinkles, and so on. So it's like, all jokes aside, it's a direct experience of having an understanding of how your emotions sit in your face and body and willingly coming back to the director's seat and changing that. Yeah.
I think specifically we're going to target the face for both our masterclass and the 6-week program that we'll be offering at the end of March. Because then we can really see the changes and like a spiritual Botox, basically.
Absolutely. And also we will have a direct experience through you working with the field directly to bring in that extra divine intelligence that reprograms the body as a whole. So yes, we may be looking at the face, but we're looking at the entire system. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you can't actually dissect.
No, the entire system is actually reflected in the face. So when you work with the one, you work with the other.
Yes, when you work with the one, you work with the other. Exactly. And in our master classes, we're going to sort of pick depending on who shows up, because in your work, you get to kind of like tune into the field and find a specific area of the face that we're going to work on, and then tell us how that works. Like we kind of like, how do you like intuit or use that sort of divine guidance?
I mean, we're going to work with a facial part, or let's not call it a facial part, although it will be, but the part of our body that is something that is the choice of the group, right? So let's say the whole group's energy is what chooses to be worked with. Let's say,
it might be like my frowny lines,
right? Or that has that stored emotion. So let's say if we are like 10 people and 7 people have this tendency to create that, this is the body part that is going to get chosen. And when we do the masterclass, we don't pick on anyone. It's like everybody has a chance to talk about what is going on within them. And also by their direct experience during the masterclass, we're helping one another coming to that other very important key, which is, okay, I'm understanding how I am creating. I'm understanding that I have the power. I am the creator. So we're going to work with those factors directly.
Yeah. And then we'll do some energy, some spinal energetics to help them recalibrate. Because once we figure out what's in our field and like what's blocking the smooth reprogramming or the energetic flow, what emotions, what mental beliefs, whatever it is that's like creating that heaviness in ourselves, then we can release it more with the nervous system activation, regulation, and breath and all of the things.
And that huge boost of energy that comes from the universe itself and retone and revitalize everything.
Yeah. is going to be so, so powerful. I cannot wait to jump into these masterclasses with you. There's 2 of them. One is on February 21st and the other one is on March 7th. So people can sign up. There'll be a link in the bio for either one of these sessions, and they'll be a little bit different. Each class will be a little bit different because it really depends on who shows up. So it's worth it to show up live.
And participate in both of them. Absolutely.
I think it's perfect timing to jump into spring, to focus on revitalization and activating the youthful glow and that radiant glow. And we might even talk about our 7 codes, right?
Yes.
The 7 codes for rejuvenation and radiance.
We'll see what we have time for, but please jump in for some really lovely new energy, new science work that is coming up.
I cannot wait. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you could give people one practice or like suggest one practice or one thing they could start doing right now before they join our masterclass that could help them start to reprogram or identify sort of what's in their field that might be creating that density or the tendency towards aging that's showing up in their face, what would you tell them
to watch
do?
The thoughts, right? And watch what they're telling the body. It's like the same principle that we say, like, I'm fat or I have a bad knee. Why is that knee bad, by the way? Right. So like really watching what thoughts we're directing to the body, because the body is the most faithful servant and it will hear you word for word. It's like a kid. It doesn't understand nuances. It says, oh, you're saying my face sucks, or look how droopy I look. And the body is creating that. So it's like really pay attention. What sort of input, what sort of instruction are you giving to your body each day? What you believe about yourself, what you believe your age is and what you are doing according to your age, and see if there's something that you would like to change. And you might think like, oh, this is like whatever, but try to work with the thoughts as a first experiment and see what happens from there.
Yeah. And then come to our masterclass and we'll help you work with your thoughts.
Precisely. Come in for more.
Yeah. I love that, because so much of our thoughts are unconscious and they're repetitive. And so that's the part that's like, I mean, we have to learn to catch them. We have to learn to see them, because they happen so quickly and they're repetitive. And so we just don't pay attention to them. And like you're saying, if every time you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, I hate my hair, or, oh, I don't want to look in the mirror. I hate the way I look, or like whatever it is. It's just like an offhanded thing. Then you're programming your body to respond to that.
There's an excellent video, I don't know, it's somewhere on social media, of Salma Hayek, like, and herself in the mirror, and like she's playing and dancing and singing to herself. This is what our energy should really be, right? And she's like what, like 58, or how old is she? And she looks amazing.
Yeah.
So play with that concept and remember that you are the creator even of your own body, even if it sounds crazy for now. But wait, because in 10 years' time, this will also be proven 1,000%. And you're going to be like, why did I miss that masterclass? Damn.
Exactly. And I mean, if we think we can manifest other things in our reality, why wouldn't you be able to change your body, which is the most intimate thing that we have connection to in our reality?
Absolutely. It's the direct platform. It can be the most tricky at first, but when we start understanding the code, then everything is there to support us because it's ours.
Yeah, exactly. It's our home.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And I cannot wait to see you soon and see everyone who's signing up for our classes in our offering. So if nothing else, it's a great way to get a taste of what it's like to have a session with us.
Yes. Thank you for having me again. I really look forward to sharing this information in depth with everybody that joins us. Wonderful.
Thank you for sharing your time with us today. I hope that this conversation stirred something in you. And that even just by listening, you started to feel a small shift in your body, in your awareness, in your breath, and you're starting to relate to your thoughts in a different way. Because this is exactly where rejuvenation begins. Not from chasing youth, not from another beauty product or a skin cream. It is really about reconnecting with that innate intelligence that already lives inside of you, that already is you. And so if you want to go deeper into this and experience for yourself what a combination session feels like with Angelica and I, then please come into our masterclasses. They're called the Inner Rejuvenation Codes, and we will guide you through this work in an experiential way so that you're not just listening to it and it's not theoretical and it's not a nice idea, but you start to feel it in your body. You start to re-encode your DNA, your belief biology, and connect to that light energy that is truly who you are inside. You're going to learn how your energetic field stores emotions and what emotions are there that are ready to be released, to be recycled, to be composted, and how these emotions and how this dense energy might be affecting your face and the way that you're aging. You're also going to experience some simple practices, techniques, and tools that will help you move your body back towards balance, softness, and connect into that field of natural radiance. You can join on February 21st or March 7th. All the details and the registration link is in the show notes. And so until we meet again, hopefully on the 21st of February or the 7th of March, then I hope that you're gentle with yourself. I hope you start to listen to your thoughts, notice your thoughts, and remember that your body is always listening and responding. And it is always ready to move towards more integration, more harmony. We are programmed that way. And when we start to bring our awareness into the field, we start to allow this true innate energy and intelligence to move us closer to who we are really meant to be. That's it. We've concluded another episode of the Finding Harmony podcast. I just want to thank you so much for doing the work that changes the world, starting with yourself. It truly does make a huge difference. Please make sure you have your automatic downloads turned on wherever you listen so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I have so much more magic I can't wait to share with you. Lastly, if you're on Instagram, I love connecting and hearing from you. So come on over and say hello at Finding Harmony Podcast. And you can also come say hello to me personally at Harmony Slater Official. Thank you again for being here. I cannot wait to share more with you in our next episode.